Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network.
TFG Football is an IVM production, and you can also check out their other awesome shows like Geek Fruit with fellow and television geeks Tejas, Jishnu and Dinkar as they discuss the world of science fiction and nerd culture.
You're listening to TFG Football.
Good day, everyone. This is the TFG Indian Football Podcast. My name is Kevin. I'm filling in for Siju, who cannot be here today. And we've been joined by Chiranjit, who is traveling, and he's connected with us on the phone. So, what is happening in Indian football? So, not on the field action is there, but off the field, a lot of transfer news is going on. And what we hear latest is the Chennaiyin FC, the ISL franchisee, has appointed a new coach. He goes by the name John Gregory, and he replaces Marco Materazzi. It's been 3 years that he's been handling the Chennaiyin FC team. So he's been a player manager and a player coach as well. So a big change for Chennaiyin FC here. Chiranjit, what do you say?
So yeah, of course, we have always heard about the influence Materazzi has had in the Chennaiyin FC players over the last 3 seasons. JJ and others have talked about how they found his advice to open up new dimensions in their game, and he had already built up a little bit of good chemistry with the Indian staff that Chennaiyin FC had employed. So it was something that was building up and could have been something bigger. But now that ISL has become an AFC recognized league, they will have to employ somebody who's got the A or Pro license, right? And Materazzi doesn't have that yet. And of course, there may have been some issues with his timing. It's a longer league now, so they will have to come and stay for 6 months. So it's like that as well. Materazzi could not work it out with Chennaiyin FC, and they will have to go with John Gregory. And he's the kind of coach I think that will take the club forward as they are opening up academies and new football schools and running a more wholesome operation that will run all season. So yeah, he's got the experience. He's got taste of success as well, reaching FA Cup final and everything in the past. So yeah, it's a good step forward for them.
Yeah. Also, one point about Materazzi was his trust in the younger players. We've seen how Jerry was given that he had a trust placed on him in spite of the mistake that he was committed, and that led to that losing of one game again. That was right at the start of the league, and when you have such an impact on your league, it becomes difficult to just give a youngster a chance. But then he ensured that he knows his potential and he gives it a try. Even though Chennai didn't perform that well in the league, but it really brought up Jerry. That was his rise to fame and to being in the spotlight. Because he won, Jerry won his place in the team right after that. He gave one bad performance, but after that he was just very consistent and he got the Emerging Player of the Award, and that led to him being picked up and see where he's reached now.
Yeah.
So
it's really good to see the kind of but that's what happens when you have a coach for 2-3 seasons. The coach forms a relationship with the club, with the players, and slowly they start thinking long term. At first when you have a new coach or a new player, they're just thinking about the next game. How to make an impact, how to secure the start of the season properly, and take the lead. And when you have somebody who's been there for a while, they are thinking about longer terms, like what they might do next season. If I play this guy a few times, despite he's making mistakes, but he's got the potential, he will become a big player for this team next season. So that kind of long-term thinking kicks in. So hopefully they will get to that place with John Gregory as well, because anyway he will have a more wholesome role than the typical ISL coach till now, and he will be spending more time. The season will be longer. So if they can build that same relationship with John Gregory, then 2-3 years from now, they will be in a much better place already.
I think that's a very valid point that you brought up, a long-term, engagement. Now we see the difference that the ISL teams are, looking to grassroots, they're looking to build academies. It's only because it's long-term. It's not a 2-month season. It's going to be much larger than that. And that puts in a lot of thought for the club as well.
It's all about club licensing, because club licensing is happening, everybody's doing this. Before that, even 10% of that was not happening. So
really,
that's the biggest thing.
The commitment is really seen from the clubs now. You're just forced to do it. And why not start a long time back? Just because it's enforced on you, they've started to make the moves.
Yeah, but seriously, you can't really fault them for that. As long as, there's these grassroots and youth development, they have never really come natural to clubs, and it has always been enforced by the federation. And
it was a problem with the I-League as well. Just because it was enforced, people tried to do it.
But clubs are competitive entities. They are for-profit entities, so they will always think about money and they will be selfish.
Right.
Just how they are. But if the club licensing forces them to do something, like you have to have your academy squad, you have to play in junior tournaments and everything. What happens is that they think, since we are already doing this, let's put some more effort into this, because we'll generate cheap players for ourselves in the future. So that's just, you just have to give them the incentive to think that way. Otherwise, they will be, they will just think, why should I spend if I don't have to?
Right.
So that's the, you just need to give them a push to some extent. That's what club licensing is all about.
Yeah. So just moving on focus to another topic that we discussed in length in a previous episode, that was about the under-23 Indian national side getting to the US for an exposure tour. But sadly that did not materialize, and that's not happening. We talked about what benefits it could get the national team, the potential spot opener for the national team in the under-23 side, and it was a lengthy tour, at least a couple of matches to be played. But then that's not happening as of now. So as a replacement, AIFF always does a good job to come up with replacements, even though something like this was not expected or planned. So the team is now moving to Singapore, where they will play the Singapore national side in 2 friendlies. But
I think they're playing them in Doha. If I'm not wrong.
Though the AIFF report does say that the team will fly to Singapore, so I believe it's happening at Singapore. And
okay.
But it's a makeshift arrangement, but we really have to give credit, because it's not easy to just shuffle your plans at the last minute, and it is happening right now. So probably this week the team flies to Singapore, where they will play the 2 friendlies.
Yeah, see, what has happened here is that obviously Singapore is okay, but USA would have been much better. And it had diverse ramifications. We would get to play club sides. We would get to play players who are much better trained than the Singapore national team and are much bigger physically. It would have been more of a physical challenge for the under-23 squad. But what has happened is that apparently an AIFF official spoke to TFG, and he told us that they had applied for visa well in time, but the embassy never granted them the interviews. Okay, so I don't know what exactly happened there. Maybe this is a rush season. That's why the visa could not be arranged. And this is not the first time. The Tibetan national women's team in March, that team is also based out of India. They tried to get visas to US, and even they were denied visas. Okay, so it's a bit of a mess, the US visa situation. But my concern is elsewhere. It's not like just anybody. It's our national team. Right, and how can you not have some special diplomatic channel that eases the process for these players?
Yeah.
Why are they? I mean, can you imagine this happening to the cricket team? Under-19 cricket team, under-16 cricket team, you think anybody would have this hassle while going to US? It would all be sorted out. There is no excuse, If AIFF wanted to take the national under-23 team to USA, and the reason that they're saying that they could not take them is that they did not get visas. That's a poor excuse, because you're working at the highest level. You should be able to maneuver these situations, right? I mean, who's managing these things, I don't know, but this is very disappointing.
It all falls back to the planning. If you have a calendar that's marked out for dates of this particular team to be playing at so and so location, that has to be taken care well in advance before you even make it public. Now, it was a press release that came out that the US tour is happening. How does that even, put out a statement saying the team is moving and that is the plan when your back-end work is not even done? That really puts up a lot of question on what your planning is. Have you done your homework right? It's not the first time that we are hearing a tour being cancelled, and it's not the first time for Indian football. It's just been happening over and over again. But just to have a backup plan or a makeshift plan, that doesn't really put you in the best of situations. That this team had planned to go to the US and now they're going to Singapore. We've seen the same thing happening with Palestine as well. But it's going over and over again. But it just raises a lot of questions whether the things are being taken in the right spirit, or is it something that is poorly worked out in the back end. Sometimes it's really sad to hear all this.
See, we all know that last year the Indian national team, the senior team, was supposed to go to USA for a similar kind of tour, exposure tour, and that got cancelled because it was clashing with ISL preseason. This time, there are some allegations just doing the rounds because, Minerva Punjab FC owner Ranjit Bajaj just tweeted yesterday that, that this is a poor excuse. Apparently, they did not even apply for visas or something like that. I mean, this is what he's saying. This is not backed up by anything we have heard from AIFF. He's got like a couple of players in the under-23 squad. I don't know what's making him say all this. But this raises concerns, because this is not the first time that AIFF has failed to arrange passage for the players to USA. And if this is happening again and again, it's not like an isolated thing, right? I mean, you try to do something twice and you fail for two different reasons, and then people obviously start asking questions about your intentions. So, this is much less than what could have been done for the Indian team. Playing Singapore, it won't be as good as a preparation as they could have gotten in USA. And let's not forget that Stephen Constantine wanted to, the lower leagues in US, he wanted scouts from those clubs to check out the Indian national team players, and he was very hopeful that a couple of players would land contracts over there, which would in turn, benefit the Indian senior national team. But it's very unfortunate that the young players have been robbed of that opportunity, and they will have to settle for less for now. It just seems like, setback after setback for Indian team in terms of, making a headway in the US.
Yeah, rightly said, because, if this was a one-off incident, it would still pass it off. But this has been happening again and again to the national team. That really, puts...
Yeah, and seriously, like we're supposed to be. I mean, the Prime Minister is talking about football everywhere he's going, right? So what kind of diplomatic priority are we giving to football? We're talking about changing the PIO rule in terms of representation in sports, so that we can get in some foreign-born Indian origin players into the national team, so that we can improve our ranking further. We can't even get this straight first. So I don't know where everybody's priorities are and what everybody is trying to do here.
Yeah, because, we are in a period of transition where things are trying to be streamlined in Indian football. But then this is really, it is a shameful act on part of the AIFF. If you just let alone this incident, but we've seen things in the past happening. It's always with the Indian football team, or at least other sports in India. It's really difficult to imagine, what support are we getting even after the ministry is being talked about, saying we are there for you and this is what you'll get from us. But in the end, things are not changing. All the focus.
At this point, I expect the ministry to step in. If there should be enough connection between the federation and the ministry so that if a situation of visa is arising, calls should be made directly on a diplomatic level that these are our representatives. You should hurry the process of following. Don't hold them up. But we don't know exactly what happened. Very little is being said officially. And that's where we are at this point, and best of luck to the Indian under-23 preparing in Singapore.
Yeah, I think we should consider us the Indian under-23 team lucky that we are not playing in Nepal in a friendly again. Again, that would have been the trump card. Okay, no other friendlies are happening. Let's play Nepal.
Yeah, Singapore is much better than Nepal. I mean, it's a well-developed footballing nation. The national team is not that great, but yeah, it's a good warm-up practice for the under-23 Asian Championship.
Right. So that was about it. And today is an important day. I say important because there is the AFC and AIFF meeting that's happening. So the agenda of this meeting is not very clear, but there are two outline topics that we are aware of. That is the strategic planning and the compensation, the player compensation that is going to be discussed. I'm not sure.
Yeah, these are issues raised by FPI in the past, like Football Players Association of India. They have been asking for a minimum wage across I-League and ISL. So that, sometimes you just saw academy players being taken into the first team for a very less amount of money. So the situation has to be improved, and most of the players' earnings have gone down in the last 3 years since ISL came. Hopefully this will be reversed now that the ISL and I-League are running in parallel. But still, at one point, you have to ensure that players at least get some money if they're playing at the top level. So that is one of the issues, and the other is the foreigner structure. I think the number of foreigners in I-League will also be discussed. We know East Bengal and Mohun Bagan want 8 in the squad and 5 on the pitch, which probably won't happen. It should not happen. It should stay as it is. It should stay at 4. And I hope AFC says, there is no need for you to increase the number of foreigners in I-League. But maybe IFF will find the middle ground and ask them to make it 5 per squad. So who knows exactly what will come out from that. We'll keep you updated as we get the news, from the meeting.
So also there was a Twitter tweeted earlier in this today morning about the meeting. There was a slide that was shown. So that said youth compensation. Now, really, this is something positive that the youth is also given the the recognition and a professional approach, because that is a stepping stone for Indian football to grow. Because we know the player, an average player, has a age of starting, it's very high compared to other countries. We see other developed nations that really kickstart. Grassroots is given importance as of lately, but then we still are yet to see a professional approach given to the grassroots. It's all in the building stage.
This is more about the players in their teens, the 13 to 19, the academy age, when they're progressing through the ranks at the academy and playing under 16 and playing under 19. The idea is to professionalize that structure so that they get a little bit of money when they're playing for the academy teams, and they are given proper health care and other types of coverage. And they now that we have seen East Bengal, Mohun Bagan, some of the ISL team academies, FC Pune City Academy, what they do is that they buy players from other academies or sign them at a very early age. Right, like 15, 16-year-old players, they are going around scouting and signing. So if that is happening, and if the academy players are also under contract, then we'll see probably transfer fees happening at that level as well. And maybe it will kick in the senior level too, once the wage structure is defined. So that will be pretty awesome.
Hope we see some good direction to this meeting, and it's for the better of the youth as well. All right, so that's a wrap from the TFG football team for this episode. I hope you enjoyed this one. And do like, share, and let your thoughts known to us via comments. We appreciate everybody who keeps commenting and just lets us know how we are doing in the episode. It just helps us grow. You can listen to us. Keep a watch on the handle TFG Football on Twitter. You can listen to this podcast on Audio Boom, SoundCloud, and other major podcasting apps. And you can also listen to us on the IVM podcast app and for the other various shows on various topics. So we'll catch you tomorrow and see you. Bye.
was Tantrik Steve from Hansraj College, Delhi, performing at IIT Bombay's Mood Indigo. Just like them, there's a lot of new talent and art coming out of colleges all across India, but unfortunately most of this goes completely unnoticed or ignored. To fix this, we started atkt.in. Hi, I'm Ankur, I'm a musician and a rapper, and I found that one of the best things about being an artist myself is finding new talent. Through atkt.in, Tanya, my colleague who's a dancer, and our whole team really is putting all of our efforts into discovering and promoting all the coolest talent that's coming out of colleges all across India. And this goes up on our website, our social media, TV, radio, and now, of course, this podcast with IVM. Make sure you go to our website, support the talent with your likes, your shares, your comments. All of that really matters. Go ahead, check it out. atkt.in.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your captain speaking. Sorry to say, but there's been a slight delay due to the apocalypse having suddenly begun. As you can see, there's death, destruction, and chaos taking place all around us. But don't you worry, food and drinks will be served shortly, and I would recommend checking out
IVM Podcasts
to get some of your favorite Indian podcasts. We'll keep you going till this whole thing blows over. Thank you.